I'd like to have my coaches here, but they're not all in town. Chuck is out of town recruiting today, and so I don't have him up here. But I wanted to do this, so it's all official now. And then I'll open it up to even more questions that you would have on the team, where we're at, all that kind of stuff. But Thomas it's a transformative sign for us, because going into another part of the country and getting a guy that is not only an excellent player, but getting somebody that comes in here with just an infectious attitude and an infectious energy. And that's exactly what we need. Did we need the presence of an inside player? Well, that's obvious. But he's so much more than that. And I think that's what's been exciting since we started recruiting him, and then really picking it up like we did during the fall, and then continuing to recruit him throughout the year. As there's some tremendous qualities about him. I mean, his mother has done such a phenomenal job, Linda Bryant, of raising him as a respectful, caring, thoughtful person that brings a lot of personality, which I think is something that our team really need, is having that kind of personality. I say that, and Victor's upstairs. Just got in here yesterday and just finishing up meeting with him. I mean, when you get around those personalities that are infectious like that make everybody that much more excited to be doing what they're doing. That's what Thomas is like. And I was with him yesterday, and that's exactly how it is when you're watching him play, or when you're sitting there talking to him about what he's got to get better at. But he's a great teammate. Being in Huntington again, same thing I saw when we were recruiting him. He's like the Pied Piper of that area. And whether it be little kids, parents with their little kids, they just gravitate to him. And I think that's going to be exciting for all the people here. He's been raised right, like I said, with his mother and his family. Oz Cross, his AU coach, done a tremendous job of being a mentor and a leader to him. Arkell Bruce, I thought, did a phenomenal job. But this is the kind of guy he is, like we say about Victor. If you'll rebound the ball for Victor, you could be walking down the street. And if he thinks you're going to throw him some good passes, he's going to bring you in. He's going to make you feel like you've known him for a long time, because all he wants to do is get better. All he wants to do is improve. And I see a lot of that with Thomas. He's a sponge. And for a guy that's gotten the attention that he has gotten as a player, the accolades, the notoriety with the McDonald's game and the Jordan game and the Huntington prep schedule and all those different kind of things, he's one of those guys that he gets as excited when his teammates make a play, whether it's one of the better players or not, as he does when he does. And that's when you see that you've got a great teammate. Not a great teammate when it's just going well for him, but a great teammate when it's going well for somebody else. And that's when I say that's transformative, because that's rare in a young player, but that's exactly what we feel like we're getting right now. I love his improvement. I think he's improved very much as a shooter. He's improved with his patience around the basket, his quickness in the post. He's getting rebounds more and more. He can get out of his area. He can really run the court. And that was one thing that we have missed tremendously the last 2 years since Cody's been gone, is having somebody that could really, really run the court, run the middle of the floor, that we could throw it over the top to. And it takes a lot of perseverance and diligence to do that, because sometimes you're going to run and not get it. But to keep running and to keep being a factor in that, I think he's got that. And again, that energy just keeps moving. I think he's improved in his footwork. I think the biggest things that we're going to work on to attack when he gets in here in the summer is to continue to build on that footwork. He thinks he's at 240 pounds right now. He's hiding it well. I'm not sure. We didn't put him on a scale when we were in there. Chuck Martin wasn't buying it, but he looks good. We've got to help him learn how to play out of traps and traffic around the basket, learn to create even more space with his size, help him get lower, run that full speed that he's capable of doing all the time, and really integrate him into what we're trying to do. We're doing parts of our workouts now. We've had 10 individuals, and today will be the 11th. And a lot of that stuff that we're doing, especially with some of the movement with the forwards and things like that, is with him in mind, because I think we're going to be able to put him in a lot of different situations. And I think the same thing with OG and with Jawan. So summing up Thomas before summing up the class at this point, and the class could continue to grow. I mean, those of you that follow recruiting and follow it nationally know that there's always changes. So you never really stop recruiting. And you better not stop, and we're certainly not going to. You want to be prepared for different things. But bottom line with Thomas is he comes in with an ability right off the bat, because he's a winner, because he's got an attitude of improvement and he's got an attitude of winning and he's got that infectious personality and energy that you want in people. And I think he's going to migrate to these guys right away. I think that he already has in some ways, because they're going to see that he is a great teammate. And for as good as he is and for as much notoriety he's gotten, what I like about his attitude is he comes out like he's trying to make the team every time. And to me, that's a key. Now, does he have a lot to learn? Obviously, he's got a lot to learn, and he's got a lot of strength to gain. And when you look at the freshmen, people coming in this league right now, especially the positions that he's going to play, I mean, we'll have our hands full in so many ways, because the league has done a great job of signing people, whether it's the kids at Michigan State or Maryland. I'm sure I'm forgetting some other ones that have signed, and not to mention that the league is always an older league. There's always experience in the league, but we think he's going to be exciting when he gets in here in June. And as far as the three of them, what they bring right off the bat is they bring a winning mentality, they bring versatility, they bring presence on both ends of the floor, because not only can they play at the basket, but they can play away from the basket. And what they bring is work ethic. I think 2 of the 3 were double-figure rebounders, which is huge, and 1 was just under double figures. And but they're going to have to gain a lot of strength. They're going to have to gain the intensity and all those different things that go into it, and understand spacing. But it's one thing to understand spacing. It's a whole other thing if you're not capable of spacing the floor. And these guys are capable of spacing the floor. Will they understand exactly all the details of that? No, but that's part of the maturity process, how quick you can grasp the details. But what they bring right away, right off the bat, what every young player has to learn, it's not about coming in and getting your game going on the offensive end. That sounds fun. It's fun to think, and people in their ears might say that's the way it goes. No, everybody that has success gets it going because they move the ball, they work extremely hard on defense, they'll make the hustle plays. That means rebounding, loose balls, 50-50s, whatever it is. And for us, we have got to have a better presence defensively. I mean, there's no question. We want to be better defensively. There's not one coach or player that doesn't understand we need to be better defensively. And some of that is going to be the length that we provide, but some of that's going to be the change of style of play defensively that we're going to be capable of going to more and more. And one of the biggest reasons people will ask, well, why didn't you press more? We didn't press more because at the back line, we averaged a block shot every 24 possessions. And right away, when your rim protection is not good in the half court, the last thing you want to bring is more easier accessibility to the rim in a pressing situation. So our pressing last year, and I'm jumping on from the recruiting, but our pressing last year and get up and guarding the ball full court was more when we were we wanted to change the pace of the game type of situation, especially when we're down. So a Michigan State game comes to mind. We're down 9 with 1:53. Being down at Northwestern, we press, but it was pressed to turn over. It was pressed to foul. It was pressed to do something different in the half court. It wasn't all out, let's get after it, because we didn't have the presence in the back line. Kentucky is not a great example because they're so big, but I think they blocked a shot every 11 possessions, and we're blocking one every 24 to 25. We weren't blocking shots back there. So the last thing we could do with this team was open up that rim any more than what we already had, because we weren't as good at protecting it as we had been in the past when we were bigger. Well, now, because of the speed of the backcourt, because of the length of the wings and the forwards, because of the fact that if we get the quickness and things down in that back line, we're going to be able to do more with the pressure, whether it's man pressure, whether it's zone pressure, and play more and more like we played against Northwestern in Chicago at the Big Ten tournament. Because, again, it's still going to be game plans. If you want to get up and guard Melo Trimble full court, he's going to shoot 12 free throws a game, okay, because he's very adept at getting to the foul line, especially with the way they're loading up. All right, so you still got to pick and choose where you're going to pick up your personnel. But bringing more fatigue to the game because we have more length and more protection at the rim, which will enable us to do not only pressure the ball, but incorporate some traps and things like that here and there is going to make us a lot better. So right off the bat, those guys bring that, and they bring a better rebounding presence. And then the big thing for us on the offensive end is helping us get to the foul line. I know it was a 2-year period. Was it a 3-year period we led the country in free throw attempts? Yeah. Last year, I think we finished 7th or 8th in the league. Now, we scored 1.6 when we went through the paint last year, okay? And I think we scored .78, something like that. You guys that follow that could correct me or write it differently when you write it, but that's an incredible number, right? I mean, so when we went through that paint, well, so much of our paint was on the penetration, or on the cut, those type of things, which is good, and we're working very hard at that, but we've got to get that ball through the paint. In post-ups, we've got to get it through slashing. We've got to get it through 4-around-1. We've got to get it through there in the lane, in the break, all those type of things. So your defense, your defensive rebounding, your ability to have that length to get fouled, which puts our better foul shooters at the line even earlier in the game. Those are all things we get excited about. And we have those things in mind as we're working through things with our team right now to get the understanding that they've got to have where each and every guy's got to get better. But I know somebody's counting my words, so I'm going to read that somewhere. So one of you guys will have that. So I'm going to stop and open it up to any questions so I get off the same sentence.